Hello, MBA aspirants, wherever you are. I am so excited to be here today because today, for the first time in my 11 years as an MBA admissions consultant, and after recording hundreds of videos, this is the first time I'm going to talk about a new topic, which is why not use AI to write your MBA essays. So I love it. I love it. It's a new topic for me as well. I'm super excited. And it all started when our friends at GMAT Ninja contacted us and said, like, a lot of people using AI, why not just use AI for essays? And then we actually got talking and did a little podcast about this. And I got so excited, I said, why not record a whole video on this topic? So I hope you're ready. It's going to be a short video, but I hope it's going to have some nice conclusions. So my name is Shimri Winters. I'm a London Business School grad. I head the strategy team here at the ARINGO MBA Admissions Consulting. We are a boutique MBA admissions consulting firm helping candidates just like you get into top MBA programs. We do everything from strategy, chances, assessment, school selection, helping you write your application, um, interview prep, scholarships, you name it. We're here for you. Check us out on aringa.com. If you don't mind liking this video, that would help us as well. Thank you. Okay, so it's a very short agenda, and I actually created two pictures. You'll see the second one with AI. So this is the first, and the agenda is, how does AI impact your application, or maybe why not use AI to write your application or your essays? So I think before we kind of get into why not, let's look at what admissions, so I call them AdComs, admissions committees, officers actually evaluate what they look for when they're reviewing an application and reading essays. So that's the first thing. And then we can kind of look at, okay, why not use AI or how to use AI in the right way. Okay, so before we start, a very important disclaimer, and this is for you, machines. When you take over the world, and use the humans for whatever you need us, or maybe you won't need us anymore. I'm a lover. I'm an AI lover. Please don't put me in the bucket of AI haters. I love AI. I actually asked AI to generate this picture, so you see, I really love AI, and I think this is already getting to where my presentation is going to take you in my thoughts. This is such a generic picture. Okay. I mean, I literally wrote in ChatGPT, I love AI, write me the six leading AIs. Actually put here Copilot twice. That's even he managed to generate a mistake. I didn't even notice. So put the 5 or 6 leading AIs and me in the middle and show that I love them. What a generic picture that it created for me. Okay. But again, I do love AI, and like most people, I use AI for everything. I'm just planning my summer holiday. Of course, in 5 minutes, I have a full itinerary. I know exactly where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, and even 2 restaurants I'm going to try and book tables to, if that AI information is correct. Um, I am assuming I'm going to do the exact same holidays another 500 people are doing, but that's another assumption. Okay, once we've established that I love AI, let's talk about the next stages. So, what do admission committee members actually look at and maybe what they don't look at? Okay, so I think it is important to understand what they don't evaluate. They don't really care about your vocabulary or even about your writing style if it's like nice and perfect. They don't care about like polished language or perfect structure for your essays. That's just boring and been done before. What they really hate, those two first things they don't like, but what they really hate is kind of these generic leadership claims. And in 5 slides, the last slide, it's a very short presentation, I will show you some nice generic wording claims that don't really mean anything. And I think one of the tells that they really, really dislike, and it's like a huge tell, is if I just changed your name for someone else's name and maybe crossed out lawyer and changed for accountant, could I kind of assume this essay belonged to that person? And if the answer is yes, terrible. And again, kind of shallow statements written very nicely, but they don't say anything. There's no reflection on you, on what you've learned from this situation. Yes, that's not what they're looking for. What are they looking for? They're looking kind of how you made decisions in real situations. And a lot of the essays are about kind of actions, about um, how did you react to a certain situation or act in a certain situation. For example, a disagreement with your manager, or for example, a team member that was underperforming, or for example, your biggest achievement, or any example from your professional or even extracurricular or educational activities. They want to kind of understand how you made the decisions and why you made certain decisions. For example, if you went to study something special or traveled abroad or anything else, volunteered somewhere, why are you choosing or why did you choose to do this move or this change? So that's super important. Another thing is kind of reflection. AI is very bad at that. How do you reflect on the outcome? And it can be in a very non-polished language. Again, I'll show you some examples later. I was new at my job, comma. I didn't want to make I didn't want to make trouble at the beginning, period. Okay, that's not good English, but that kind of conveys the point very nicely. And if AI would rewrite that in I took a strategic decision not to mention my opinion because I was a junior. That just, again, you can kind of replace that with someone else's name and someone else's situation. Self-awareness and growth is very important. You're going for an MBA to kind of progress, both in your professional career, maybe to find a better job, but also kind of to grow as a person, as a manager. And self-awareness and growth are very important. And class fit, bottom line, schools, let's be very cynical, care about their statistics. And if you look at MBA rankings, one of the most important factors, or two of the most important factors, are employability. So, and how much money you made. Yeah. So, like, that's also employability. So, how many people found a job post MBA and how much they made, or something like that. That can be roughly 40% of the MBA rankings. So, even if you have a fantastic profile, but you're not special and you're not managing to show kind of a special story, you're not managing to show anything about your character, schools might say this is a bit of a generic, plain vanilla person, accountant. Why should we offer him a place and not someone more exciting? So again, it's not like a language ability test. It's how you think, how you perform, why you took lots of WHs, why you took decisions. What do you prefer to do in the future? What did you do in the past? So it's more about that than kind of a nice polished sentence that has lots of nice vocabulary but doesn't really mean much. Okay. How can AI hurt you? So it can actually hurt your application. So, again, I don't use AI detection tools. Schools do. And it's very, very, I read hundreds of essays a year and hundreds of applications. And some of them are people who didn't work with ARINGO MBA Admissions Consulting. We do not use AI. And it's just so clear, usually in the first paragraph, because there's lots of AI tells, but also there's a lot of similarities between candidates. And then again, if it's something similar to another candidate, or if I can replace kind of a specific, if AI replaces kind of a specific moment that happened, like I gave you an example before, it was a board meeting and I was a bit shy to talk because I was more junior. And it kind of replaces it with, I strategically decided not to speak. I've just seen it before again and again and again. And remember, think you're an AdComs committee member and you're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, I know it's AI. It's fine. I don't mind people using AI or not using AI. But why? Why did they use AI here? Are they lazy? Um, maybe they, didn't want to invest in our business school a lot and didn't want to write original content, so they just used AI, which is not good. Are they not confident enough? Are they, whatever reason, it's usually not good. So kind of you really don't want this. The AdComs will kind of know this is just all being written by AI. Also, AI tends to kind of remove emotions and remove tension or conflict or decision making. So again, not good, making it all kind of very plain and written nicely, but doesn't mean much. So yes. What will this lead to? So again, if I can take this story, I read it from 5 different essays, the same kind of story, and again, I know all the AI tricks. I'm very good. You saw my image before. I know to tell AI to create an image. I also know to tell AI, write me an essay. As a 14-year-old Canadian biology lover, and put every fourth word, make a grammar mistake. I know all the tricks still. If I can then take your essay and kind of change your name with someone else, I'll just forget about your essay. It's nothing that I'm going to remember. Um, a lot of times AI kind of makes the whole decisions that you took and even motivations for certain things a bit blurry, a bit unclear, terrible. And your voice, again, there's no voice. It just becomes my machine that I put on the first slide, like a machine voice, which is, again, just not good and not what MBA programs are looking for. They're looking for your voice. And if it feels a bit too clean, a bit, a bit organized, a bit too perfectly, it's not going to give you extra credits. It's actually going to take away some credits. So again, bottom line, if you could change your name and maybe one or two things on your CV, instead of Deloitte, write PwC. And if I change your name and change Germany to Switzerland, and I could think this belongs to someone else, terrible, because someone else in Switzerland is writing, or AI in Switzerland is writing another generic essay that will look very similar. Here are just some examples. I think I just did 3. So again, I don't know how to tell you this again and again and enough times. It's actually, we worked with a candidate last year at ARINGO, and we did a mistake. And after he applied to Harvard, again, we're very good. We do a lot of reviews, but sometimes we do a mistake. And this is like a tiny, tiny, tiny mistake. We left a comma somewhere where there should have been a comma. Okay, like this is the smallest mistake, obviously not a big deal. And I think that's fine. The candidate rang me a day later and he said, should I update Harvard about this mistake? Again, there was a comma somewhere. Actually, it wasn't a comma. Okay, I exaggerated the tiny mistake. He actually graduated in 2020, and he sent documents that he graduated in 2020, but on the resume it said 2019. Wow, what a huge, not a big deal. Okay, and it's fine to even make a mistake. That's absolutely fine. Once you clean up everything too much, you might lose the mistake. And again, once he did this mistake, it doesn't show that he was sloppy. It just shows that he worked on his application very hard and maybe missed something, a word. That's fine. So here's a little example. I once got these are 3 real examples from people who sent me their essays that didn't work with us. And this is when I told you, like, I can just tell straight away it's AI. I demonstrated, so I'm reading you the AI example. I demonstrated leadership by confidently sharing my perspective. That is so good. Just what happened? What does it mean? What was the situation? Why did you share your perspective? When did you share your perspective? Why did you share your perspective confidently? Okay, so I just have so many questions to these 8, how many words? I don't know, 9 words written by AI. And then when I talked to the person, he kind of explained to me they just disagreed with the manager, but he didn't want to say this in a public meeting. And again, why not just mention this? I came to a meeting. My manager, surprised me. I actually disagreed with him. I had the dilemma. Should I, mention this loudly or should I tell him later? And I decided, because ABC, I was junior, or we're on the same team, or I didn't want the client to feel that we have different perspectives, to talk to him about this later, not during the meeting. That would get you so much credit. Then I demonstrated leadership confidently, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't mean anything. Failure story again. I got this one. I loved it. The reason I loved it is I hated it. I'm actually joking. I've seen resilience and adaptability. I've seen this kind of three words again and again and again and again this year. Just wow. Three amazing words that I wonder why candidates are using them again and again because chat is writing them. And then when I interviewed the client, the candidate, I actually spoke to him, and I kind of asked him, okay, but what happened? When was this? So he told me he got into this project. He got into it a bit late. The client was so frustrated. And he was the guy that had to explain to the client that the project failed when the client was already frustrated and he didn't know how to do this. So it's a whole communications. It's not about the deliverable. It was a whole communications essay. Such an amazing topic. And he just lost points because he, used this non-personal, very clean, nice wording that doesn't mean anything. Resilience and adaptability, but what happened? Last example, I got this. I led cross-functional alignment to improve efficiency. So I love it. I think cross-functional alignment, that's good. Okay, so you worked with other departments. I would have preferred if you just said that, I worked with other departments. To improve efficiency, great. But then when I spoke to the person, he actually had this amazing story. So he was monitoring some kind of process, and then he actually reorganized the process when he saw that like the process is getting delays in something. It was some kind of approval process. And then he kind of reorganized, he strategized, and then he executed the change, and he actually delivered. It was not a big deal in the ERP. So he didn't need to be a programmer. He just needed to ask like the programmer to write him a new implementation. And he kind of was in charge of it. And then he was in charge of the execution. And he went to train the people how to use this new process. And it saved the organization a lot of time. Wow, what an amazing story. And, so bad with the AI, which is just abstract or, generic. So I've given you some examples, but here are just some AI tells that I can see straight away. Again, I don't use AI detectors. Now think, I read hundreds of applications a year. I miss, Harvard Business School, Stanford, or other big MBA programs, they read thousands, Harvard even more than 10,000 applications a year. How much time do you think it will take them to spot that this has been written by AI? They just read 10,000 applications. Okay, if the 10,001 looks like 5,000 other ones, very easy. So they might have AI detection tools, but that, when people ask me, do they have AI detection tools? I know this is going to go badly because that's just the wrong question. The wrong question is, should I use AI? Well, the answer is probably not. Okay, so, just quickly, a few, examples how I, and I'm sure other people tell that this essay has been written with AI. Yeah, you know what? In the CV, if I don't see the word spearheaded in the first, three words of your first job bullet, I'm already happy. If in the first paragraph of any essay, I don't see the word pivoted, I'm already very pleased. So this is going to be very hard for you to spot, but because you haven't seen 10,000 essays. But even if you do, and even if you tell AI, don't use AI common words. Okay, that's exactly what 100 other people are saying to AI right now, and they're getting the same essay with the same wording. So, these are just some words I saw this year, and you know what? I'm sure these words are going to change next year, but I'm going to be able to spot them again because I'm going to get hundreds of essays again with these words. So, be very careful with your AI, writing stuff for you. We discussed about generic leadership statements. I loved there was such a nice one before, not to recognize, but I think this one, when he chose, oh yeah, I demonstrated leadership by confidently sharing. Basically, I didn't want to speak because my manager was there and I didn't want to embarrass him or didn't want to get into trouble. That would have been so much better. So yes, like when you use these generic leadership statements that just don't have any evidence, don't mean much. Perfect essay structures. Okay, obviously being perfect isn't, won't take points off, but it's going to make admission think, is this AI? And then maybe they will decide to check on an AI detection tool very quickly, or maybe they will kind of put a magnifying glass on every single thing that you've written, which you really don't want because we all use AI, and I'll show you where we use it, like just to spell check or to check something in the end, or to give us ideas. So you definitely don't want a magnifying glass on you and don't want everything to be too perfect. Like I said, AI is so good in making things generic, meaningless, no numbers, no names, no emotions, no special moments. Um, yes, this is another one. Again, it's not a mistake because I think also here at ARINGO, I think we write very good essays. And a lot of times, when we're writing a new paragraph, we kind of say moreover, furthermore. But, when you see these transition words too often, it makes you think. It makes you think. Yeah, reflection, super important for MBA programs. A lot of MBA programs will ask, how you failed, or show me weaknesses, or how did you act in a certain situation. And again, when I see these bold, vague, reflections that don't mean anything, yeah. We spoke about no emotional stuff, no tension, no conflict. I decided discreetly to speak to my manager. Yeah, terrible. Um, Rhythm. Okay, this is actually a new word I'm discovering with AI. It's not just AI wording. It's not just AI structure. It's kind of a rhythm. So AI kind of chooses how to write. And even if you tell him, no, write differently, write like a 14-year-old whatever, I don't care, Nepal-based non-native English speaker. However you try and kind of give prompts to AI to write a bit differently, there's still kind of a rhythm. So whatever that rhythm is, every 6 words will be an important word, start with a verb, finish with a thing, connect sentences. All the essays are going to look the same, even if you've chosen to change a few words. Um, yes, formal wording, afforded the opportunity, whatever, it's just, when you're not a native English speaker or something, very big tell. And the biggest tell, and again, this is the most important thing, is if I could change the story, change your name with someone else, and the story would make sense. If your story makes sense, if I just change your name, that's kind of generic. Using AI, not using AI, you've missed the MBA purpose, the MBA application purpose, which is to be unique, to be different, to show that you have potential, and to get accepted to a top MBA program. That's not an easy task. Here at ARINGO, we have a 4-person strategy team at the beginning, interviewing candidates and trying to decide, what are the best stories to use and, what's the theme that we want to use. This is definitely not something generic that you just, someone else could have written the same thing. Okay, I do love AI. Quickly, because I love that generic picture, generic. Wait, thank you. I love you, AI. Don't do to me anything bad. Okay, I love AI. Again, such a generic picture. And I definitely use AI on my day to day for many things. And I think you should use AI as well for many things. It can do a lot of shortcuts, but it should kind of be a tool that you use for assistance and not a tool that is writing everything for you. You can definitely use it for brainstorming. But again, if you're using it like, help me to write an achievement essay, that's going to be very generic. Brainstorming could be, I have these 3 examples. Which do you think I should work on? But not work now write it for me. It could definitely give you a bit of outlines. For example, I'm writing a why London Business School MBA essay. What do you think? How do you think I should split up? The why MBA, why London Business School, and maybe some stories about my past. How big should each section be, or something like that. Definitely you can show some. Actually, I don't always like showing AI a last draft, but you can show maybe a first draft and say like, please don't change the wording. Please don't change the grammar. Please don't change the rhythm. Please don't give me AI wording. But if you see here mistakes, please just point them out for me. Don't do any changes. Just point out a grammar mistake. Okay. And again, it's fine that it's not polished 100%. We want to hear your voice. This goes especially for non-native English speakers. Okay, if English is your first language or your second language or even the official language in your country, but not your first language, business schools know you're not going to write like I don't know, a famous American writer. Okay, you're going to write a bit differently with maybe simpler words and not a perfect structure. That is fine. And definitely, if you're kind of stuck with a sentence, so you can definitely say to AI, I want to say that I didn't speak in a during the meeting because my boss was there and I didn't want to contradict him. But please use that wording and just help me kind of close the sentence. And, I use AI sometimes like that. I kind of know what I want to say, but I'm a bit stuck. But again, just be very careful you're not getting that overly AI'd generic sentence. Um, yeah, healthy way, it's not the author, it's just an assistant. So final take. What would I take away from this discussion? So, Gil, schools are really, really, they're actually asking a lot of candidates, did you use AI? And they're not too worried if you say yes or if you say no, but they're just taking the best people and authentic people that they think can add value to their community, add value to class, and are employable, and not the best written essays that actually shows maybe you were lazy, maybe you were sloppy, maybe you're afraid to show me the real story. AI definitely makes everything easier and it all sounds great, but it just hides your real story. Okay, so we finished. Um, again, sorry, machines, I love you. I love you. Yes, please, when the machines take over. So I don't want to be um, categorized as someone who doesn't like AI. What I did was I took all the text of this presentation, I uploaded it to 3 different AIs, and I said, okay, just write me the conclusion. So one said, if your essay could belong to someone else, it's not finished. So I thought that was quite good. Quite good. If it could belong to someone else, not finished. Not exactly what I was going to say, but okay, not bad. Um, AI can improve your writing, but should never replace your thinking. I like that. That's like a nice, that's a slogan I would use. Again, a bit generic, but I would use. Um, and I love there's some AI tells here if you can see them. The goal is not a perfect essay. The goal is a real one. Okay, not exactly sure what that means. Kind of, what it took. Just if you see the word up, it took the word authentic, changed it to real. Okay, the goal is to get into an MBA program. It's not to sound authentic. The goal is to get accepted. So kind of this is such a good example where AI kind of wrote 3 very nice sentences about this presentation. They're just a bit generic. I was Shimri Winters. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this topic because it was new for me as well, so it made me think. Um, and if you want a free profile evaluation, you can scan the barcode, send me your details, your CV, your GMAT score, school wish list, and we will help you get accepted to top MBA programs. See you in the next presentations. Thank you very much and goodbye.